Hi everybody, this is Francis Serrano. Today's another episode of Bayani Talk. FMAschool.com. Hi everybody, this is Francis Serrano, and today's another episode of Bayani Talk. And today, I'd like to talk about pettiness. Now, as many of you know, I'm a Filipino martial arts school instructor. I've been teaching for since 2009, so it's been a minute. But I've been practicing Filipino martial arts since 1998. So it's been 22 years since I've been practicing. I'm pointing this out because recently one of my students came up to me and told me that she needed to tell me something very important. So of course I always try to make time for my students, especially when it is very important for them. And then when we got on the video chat, she was actually crying on the video chat. So I'm like, wow, is everything okay? What happened? And basically she told me she had to leave the school. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, if whatever reason that you may have to leave, I'm not going to judge you for it, but, just talk to me. And she goes, and then this is when it kind of went off the rails for me, because she told me the reason why she was leaving was because her previous school is making her leave. Now, let me just kind of give you a premise that she's from the UC Riverside group. Now, the UCR group is unique in itself, where if I have students that are coming from another martial arts or another Filipino martial arts background, they're not necessarily leaving their school. It's just that geographically they moved to Riverside to start going to college here, and that it's physically impossible for them to go back and forth to where their hometown is and be able to do their training there. So normally I would always ask my students, hey, make sure you get the green light from your instructor and we'll proceed forward. But suffice to say, it's just a club, okay? And no, yes, I do teach Filipino martial arts there, and no, I don't water down the system, but it's a club more than a school. Really, it's a family. But it's a great way for many students who are especially incoming freshmen, and then parents are kind of nervous because their kids are going to huge university, and there's all that stories about them being attacked. Signing up for a Filipino martial arts club gives them at least a chance to learn how to defend themselves and have a community right off the bat. We're a very welcoming group, and we always accept anybody as long as they're open-minded and willing to learn. We don't care. You can come in. So she's been this student has been with me since towards the end of last year, right before this whole coronavirus really took shape. And then I met her parents. They seem to be really, really cool people. And I know her teacher personally. I've met him many times, and in fact, he is he is affiliated with us in some fashion, in the sense where he is actually my teacher's former teacher. So I'm not going to get into really big details about what happened and whatnot, but I am going to say though that all of this happened in the early 90s. And all of this happened in Orange County. And like I said, I didn't join the club or the group until 1998. My student, who's only, I think, 18 years old, was born in 2001, 2002. And yet, whatever the drama was back in the early 90s, it's still resonating to today. And I just find that the most ridiculous thing ever. They're asking her to not be part of my program because there's apparently some bad blood between my teachers and that group over there. But the weird thing is, I've met this person several times, and he seems like very personable, very nice guy, and be willing to give a brother a hug and take photos, whatnot. So it's I always thought he was a nice guy. So, but apparently, this person is very upset that the way my teachers left the program. And now, in defense to my teacher, one of them left the school because he had to. His job moved him to Northern California. Uh, so it was, physically impossible for him to be training continuously. Then he discovered, Doce Paris, and then he introduced his brother, my teacher, into the program, and they just both fell in love with it. From what I was told, that my teacher was actually ready to help his current school to develop their Filipino martial arts program. They had a Filipino martial arts program in existence into their program, but they were hoping that this would take it to the next level. I don't know. I wasn't there. This is what I'm being told. Well, apparently the school got really upset. The owners got really upset, and basically, they made my teachers feel uncomfortable, and they decided to leave. Now, again, this was in the early '90s, and they're claiming that my teachers not only left but took a lot of students with them. Um, I wasn't there, but from the time I started training, there was usually only 5 people in the class. Uh, the Chief Joe, Guru John, Guru Henry, Guru Ariel, and myself. I don't know about all these other students that they supposedly took, but I don't know. I wasn't there. But what just kind of really irks my thing about it is two things. One, I asked my teacher, like, hey sir, what's your relationship with this person? He's like, oh, it's great. We're still really good friends. Every time we see each other, it's always like we've never left. Blah 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 blah. And he goes, and then he asked me why, and I'm like, well, apparently he's lying to you, Chief, because he hates your guts. And then I told my other teacher, the other teacher that left. Now it wasn't his brother. Unfortunately, Chief Joe died in 2004, so I can't ask him. But then I did ask my other teacher, Guru John, and I asked him, like, what's your relationship with this person? He's like, it's great. In fact, he even asked me a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, if I'd be willing to go back. And I'm like, yeah, okay. He goes, why? He goes, well, apparently he hates your guts too. And I'm saying this because I know that's a very harsh thing to say, that somebody hates somebody's guts. But the reason why I'm saying this is because my student is being affected by this. I'm being affected by this. This happened in the early '90s. She wasn't even born yet, and I wasn't even in the program yet. I was still in junior high. And why is it affecting us now? All right. The second thing that bothers me about this is, like, this was in the early '90s. Dude, let it go, man. Why are you still hanging on to that? It's just, to me, that's just absolutely ridiculous. Okay. So what? I'm not gonna. It's just so dumbfounds me as to why they are restricting my student to join our mutual student from continuously training with me, when it is impossible for her to continuously train with her original school, while she lives here in Riverside. And then another thing about that is she found a community. She found a group of people who was, genuine and really ready to be her, a family member to her here in Riverside. And then she was asked to let them go because of a beef that happened back in the early '90s. And apparently, also, what had happened was my student actually, when she had a performance, she invited 2 of my other students, and then that teacher told them that they were not welcome to come back. And my students, the most important thing for my students when they're representing the school is that they always act themselves honorably and to not embarrass me. And I know these 2 boys, and they would never do that. And but somehow they were no longer allowed to come back there. So I'm just saying that the pettiness of this school here is beyond me. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact, and I'm just gonna outright say it, that they don't want our mutual student, to find out that there's a lot of holes in their program. I'm calling it out there, all right? Because I am upset. Okay, they don't do competitions. My school does. They don't have any world championships. I have 3 in my own stable. In fact, Visayan Legacy, the main school, has a world champion in every one of our stables. So, and then of course, the group is highly respected throughout the organization, the GSBA, and even when we were in Wakeoff. As you all know, I've kind of associated myself with a lot of prominent Filipino martial artists, and I'm very, very honored and humbled by that. But it's because we have made ourselves, we've made ourselves in a sense where we take pride in what we do, and we take pride in the style that we do. And now, this obscure school in Orange County is not preventing my student from having to hanging out with her friends. Now, to my student, I told her that, look, I'm pleased that you're loyal to original school, and I'm not gonna ask you to choose between us and them. If they, just go with them, it's perfectly fine. But I told her they may be able to tell you that who you can and can't train with. In reality, they really can't. But I'm just helping her out. But they can't tell you who you can't be friends with. All right, we're still your friends. We still love you. We're still got your back no matter what. And to that school, you may know who you are, you may not. I don't really care. Let that stuff go, man. That was back in the 90s. Okay? And if you're worried about, of whatever, talk to me about it, man. We're mature adults here. We can have a civilized conversation about this. But again, this stuff happened in the early 90s before I was even part of the club, before our student was even born. Okay? One of those three people that you were talking about is already gone. He died in 2004. And then if you're going to invite one of them back, how come a Visayan Legacy member can train in your school, but then our student can't train with me? I just don't understand that logic. And until then, I don't know. But to me, it's nothing but absolute pettiness. Absolute pettiness. And, if you're going to be the one, and I was told that you as one of the curriculum or one of the requirements to get promoted is to have to write a paper about integrity. Well, I'm sorry, but you're not practicing what you're preaching. You're putting your needs in front of our students first. Okay? And because of that, I'm telling her that she doesn't have to train with me, and I love her regardless. Okay? But she can still hang out with us, and she can still be our friend. You can't take that away from her, and you can't take her away from us. Okay? So if you feel like that's what you need to do, by all means, go ahead and do it. But as of right now, you've lost my respect. I don't know. Do you guys agree? Do you believe that this is something that we should do? Comment down below. Until then, my name is Francis Serrano. This is another episode of Bayani Talk. Peace out. God bless, and keep swinging them sticks.